And welcome to Sporting Jibberish. I'm Stu Booth.
I wondered if you forgot your name. It's been that long a week. Hello, I'm Jack Luffman.
It's just I was thinking about we're back in our home surroundings, and then I completely forgot my name.
It's just bizarre that. Home comforts, Boothie, Stu, you're here. Alive and kicking, end of the week. Let's get through.
Well, I like that word, alive and kicking is very. I think we should put that on a continuum. I'd definitely say I'm alive, and I can kick, but I'm not sure if I'm alive and kicking.
Yeah, true.
It is. We're coming towards the end of a harsh summer. It feels like a long summer.
Yeah, it does.
But yes, we are out of the woods.
Some good news though. We've got a few days off next week or two.
Yes,
I'd like a bit more, eh?
Yes, well, don't we all? Who doesn't love a day off? Right, anyway, let's get on with possibly the worst start to a show.
That's alright, I like it.
Ever known to man. Right, okay, on today's show we're going to be talking Prem, Champions League, Man United. A little thing happened last week, so we'll discuss that and what the future holds for them. Amateurs in Sport, which is just a bizarre article that you've just been showing me about, which is
developing story over the last 2 days. I just don't get it.
Crazy one. Rugby and the new ruling about international clearances. We'll cover our fantasy football winner. Jack Luffman has moved up into the top 80s now.
No, top 90, 89th.
All right, okay. So we're in the 80s.
We've got all right.
So it's been a good week for Jack. But we're going to start with our sporting week. So this time last week you were playing Exiles with a Bear team.
Yeah.
Bear 11?
Bear 11, yeah, Bear 11. Yeah, we did. We easily got 11 out. I think I said last week it wasn't our strongest side, but it was a chance also to look at a couple of players who hadn't actually played for the club previously. So I think there were 3 whole club debuts and 1 debut for the young lad in the DSL. Although we lost by 15 runs, I think, in the end, we were really pleased with some of the things that we saw, and we competed. And on another day, we could have and probably should have won. We probably still should have won on Saturday, in all honesty. But yeah, overall, it was good, pleasing, and all of a sudden now we've got 16, 17 players who want to play, are paid up, and so fully fledged members. So yeah, it's a bit good.
So it all tees up nicely for the Eliminator.
Yeah, it sounds like that game for Gladiators, isn't it?
Yeah, so you are playing in the Eliminator Exiles for the 3rd time in
4 weeks. 4 weeks or 5 weeks, yeah.
So it's come thick and fast.
Yeah.
So it's winner takes all this weekend. Loser goes home. Pressure is on who?
I don't know, really. They give you big licks on social media after last week's game. Originally called it the Eliminator, so they didn't really know what they were doing. And then apparently left the Wanderers wandering.
Oh, is that the... so it's come to cheesy puns now, has it?
And they're a committed club, one family, one love. So I don't know. All I would say...
I like it when it gets a little bit dirty on social media.
All I would say is that we're back to full strength. So I think the selection committee have had a bit of a tough decision, because one or two of the lads who came in last week did well.
Yeah.
So we're back to full strength. I think he's taken 12 again. So.
Okay, and when is the big game?
So tomorrow morning, so Friday morning at 8 a.m.
Ooh.
So yeah.
To be avoiding the black currants tonight then, will we?
Yeah, maybe just a couple of settlers, because I'm not sure I'll sleep or not. Big game. Big game for the club, big game for other reasons, obviously. So, yeah.
And Shrek's over at the moment, and how did he enjoy the setup?
He loved it. He just... we got him a Wanderers polo shirt, so he donned that last week, and like a pig in the brown stuff, I think, sat watching cricket.
Alright, so Shrek, even though he's not officially part of Sporting Jibberish that sponsors the club, managed to get a polo top before the sporting side of Sporting Jibberish got one.
The polo shirt. I've got you a shirt. Look at it. You've got a Sporting. You don't really want one of those.
Is it? We're officially breaking up right now. I'm just going to break that piece of wood behind me. Snap it in half.
Yeah. So yeah, he enjoyed it. I think he actually said it was quite nice for him to watch a game of cricket and not be involved in it. Okay. Obviously back home he's scoring.
Yeah, and you can't really enjoy it if you're doing stuff.
Yeah, so I think he's looking forward to tomorrow, because I think he's hoping for a bit of needle. I think we best not disappoint.
Yes.
And you were back playing last night, finally, after like a proper game.
Yeah, we had our first game against Grizzlies, who have been going all right actually. They're not really known for doing well, but they've actually been Irish and another decent team. But before going to our game, the pitch next to us was all kicking off.
Oh, was it?
So I haven't told you this story yet. So midway through the first half, I just turned over and I looked round, and there's a Turkish guy. So one was a Turkish team, I think they're called Energize, but it's full of Turkish lads, and they're playing Safa. Well, Safa are usually known for having quite a lot of English lads, particularly Scousers. And I turned around and one of the Turkish guys, the side of his eye is just bleeding, and he's not in a good way, and he's pointing his finger and wagging and all this, and all the Safa boys are leaving. So I'm like, leaving? Something must have happened. Anyway, so I bumped into one of the Safa Vets game players after our game, and he was telling me a story that something kicked off in the game. I don't know who it was between, but there was supposedly either a current UFC fighter or or a current, or he fight. You know, he does the UFC stuff. Got involved in a bit of a ruckus. I don't know how it all started, but it didn't end well for three of the Turkish players. And the way Bojan explained this to me was, it was like watching something out of the film. The first one came, went down. Second one came, other hand went down. Third one came, went down. He said in a matter of seconds, three guys knocked out on the floor, 3 punches thrown.
Wow.
Referee at that point went, game abandoned, grabbed his stuff and ran off.
Wow.
Yeah, so, very interesting. So, it was...
I wish I was there. Was that the 7th?
That was at 7th, yeah, so quite an entertaining night. It's a shame they didn't have the VO cam for that one. That would have been pretty good, yeah.
Wow. What about your game, anyway?
We had an absolute disaster first half. We found ourselves 2-0 down. First one, we had a corner, they broke, absolutely punished us. We had 3 or 4 chances to make tackles or get a shot off in the build-up to it. Didn't do it either or, and then the lads got through and scored. And then on a free kick which has gone over our left back, and their wingers beat our left back to it, beat our centre midfielder, clipped the ball in, and it's landed perfectly. Brownie's in one position, I'm in the other, centre forward just between the two of us, and it's gone too high for Brownie, and I'm not close enough to get there, and he just directed his header in. I'll hold my hand up and said maybe I should have been a bit closer, but 2-0 down at half time. Gaffer wasn't particularly happy.
So the captain stepped in. I've heard a whisper. The captain stepped in.
I might have said a few things at half time, said a few home truths, but to be fair, I wasn't saying anything that wasn't untrue, and I didn't leave myself out of the criticism. I played my heart on my sleeve. I didn't have a particularly good half, and I refer back to that second goal. I could have done a bit more for that. So I'd said that we've been in this position before. It's up to us now to sort it out.
Just as calm as that, I'd imagine.
Yeah, no expletives, no nothing, no finger pointing or wagging or anything along those lines. Just very gentle and calm and saying, just guys, it'll be okay. And then got moved into the number 10 position.
The gaffer's finally listening to me.
Yeah, so I moved into number 10 position, didn't have a hand in the first one. We had a great goal disallowed in the first half for no apparent reason. So 2-0 down, got one back in about the 60th minute, and then proceeded to pepper. We hit the post twice. I've had an opportunity where the ball's coming over the centre half, and you only think about heading it. I think he's going to get the ball. So I'm like, right, if I just hold back, and he does get a little touch, I'll be all right. Anyway, he's not touched it, and I've gone to chest it, and he just balanced a bit too high, and he's gone to toe it, keeps come out and got it at the same time. So I was a bit disappointed with that. And then 89th minute, we finally got given a penalty after 16 different penalty appeals. One blatant handball. The referee finally gave up, gave us a penalty at 89th minute. Got given the task of taking it.
Oh, there we go.
Kept the nerve, bottom corner.
First goal of the season, bosh.
First goal of the season, yeah. And then what makes it even worse, that was 89th minute, 93rd minute, ball's fallen to me at a reasonable angle. Should have done better, but left foot half volley. Had to take it quite quick because everything was closing in on me, and pulled it across the goal, and the defenders managed to hook it away for a corner. And I'll be honest with you, is that even if the defender touched it, I don't think it was going in. I think it was still going wide anyway. So a little bit. That's the one that I sat and played through my head 23 times
all day today.
Yeah, it's gone through my head a few times.
Every time I've seen him, it's not gone in.
Yeah, I just don't know. In my head, I still don't know. I should have scored. But I hold my hand up. That's what strikers do, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
You score the winners. Everybody remembers you. The glory of the team. If you don't score them, people remember that. Should remember that. But
that's 49 games unbeaten.
49 games unbeaten, and the part of me was a little bit like at one point in the game was, maybe it wouldn't be too bad to lose a game, just to kibosh that whole stigma around this, and then maybe we feel a little bit more relaxed to play.
Go again.
But yeah, we didn't have our strongest team out, but I think second half we did enough to win the game. First half, absolutely appalling, and if we play like that against somebody else, we'll get.
And a game next week?
Yes, we've put ourselves down for the next 2 weeks. We've got games, and then we have a break for winter.
So we've got off, so I might come on Wednesday night. Maybe.
Yeah, so fingers crossed.
Because I don't think we'll be training because it's obviously at school, so I don't know how that works. Anyway, over and out.
Yes,
good.
Look forward to next week.
Excellent.
Right, Premiership. So, in what can only be described as the top 3 were potentially, you would say, had quite difficult fixtures.
Just trying to think of their players.
With regards to who they're playing. So, the first game was Leicester versus Chelsea. Comprehensive victory for Chelsea. It looked very, very good.
The break's done then good, hasn't it?
And I look 3-0, probably flat Leicester a bit because you've got Chilwell's hit the bar. Schmeichel's made a good save to Chilwell. Looking very, very impressive. I just wonder now, obviously, I had another great result against Juventus midweek, 4-0. But Conte's gone down a bit of a knock, hasn't he?
Yeah, Conte,
So you just wonder now how pivotal he is to that team because of the work he does. Like Liverpool play really well, and obviously Salah's a big player in that. But when Fabs is not there, they do look a little bit more open. So we'll see how that impacts Chelsea. But great result for them. And then we had a host, and I did say this last weekend was it could have been goals galore.
Yeah, and it was.
Turned out it was. Villa 2, Brighton 0. Stevie G gets off the mark with 3 points.
Last 10 minutes both got
great
finishes.
Ollie Watkins is another one. And Tyrone Mings, considering he took that first time, as an absolute rocket. And then a game that was flipped and ebbed and flawed was Burnley 3, Crystal Palace 3. So I think it was Palace 1 up, Burnley 2-1 up, Palace 3-2, Burnley 3-3. Good game. And then another 3-all, Newcastle Brentford.
Defensively, Newcastle got so much work to do on that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, I was talking to Dan about it actually last night or the night before. We were saying, I don't think actually forward-wise, midfield, they're not that bad. No. Maximin, we know Salis was decent.
Yeah.
Elmore, I think, is injured, but he's lively. I actually don't think so. You've got Callum Brooks. I know his record. I think Joe Linton's the actual worst player in the world.
No.
But defensively, they're just all over the place, aren't they?
Yeah, very, very open. Brentford have not been too bad at back, but yeah, they were very open. And then Dean Smith gets his first win as well, 2-1 with Norwich. And again, I don't think anybody would have predicted Southampton losing that game. So maybe Southampton have something over the lower teams where they can't perform.
Yeah.
And then what seemed to be the nail in the coffin, Watford 4, Manchester United 1, and that scoreline is not a true reflection. Watford actually missing 2 penalties.
Yeah.
The first penalty and then the retake, and then missing an abundance of chances. If that score had been 4-0 at half time to Watford, nobody could have argued. And if that game had finished 6-1, again, nobody could have argued with that final outcome. And United was so poor and turned out to be Ollie's last game. Emergency Zoom board meeting was called.
Yeah.
And off he went. But we're going to cover more.
What we're going to do, because not before. I'll just leave it. Not before Tom, if you may know. I think you take your Ollie Will and Alex Ferguson 1990 treble winning glasses off.
Yeah.
Not long before Tom, but we'll discuss that in a minute or two.
Yeah.
Hell of a win for Wolves, this, by the way.
Yes, Wolves beating West Ham on there, but then it doesn't overly surprise me, that result, because Wolves aren't that bad of a team and West Ham are liable.
Yeah, because actually our West Ham are top 4 side. Let's be honest, they're not. And the reason up there that 1 or 2 sides, better sides, are floundering, finding their way. I know you'll go on to Arsenal, you've got a good schooling at your boys on evening, but they're finding their way up there. Spurs obviously been poor so far this season, and look poor again on Sunday, incidentally. But West Ham are top 4 side, are they?
No, playing well at the moment, and Moyes got them going in the right direction. But they're going to have these hiccups because staying consistent is going to be very difficult for a team.
And defensively, they're still relying on people like Craig Dawson. He was 35 10 years ago at West Brom, wasn't he? So.
And son. Yeah. And then the evening game was Liverpool 4, Arsenal 0. I think the scoreline reflects the game, but it wasn't. Arsenal weren't that bad.
Yeah.
I think if you look at the first half performance from Arsenal, they played well. He tries to make them play in a certain way. He is trying to play almost emulate Man City style. But I think for Liverpool, and I think we've seen a little bit of Klopp's insight into actually what happens at half time is 1-0 at half time was still quite a close game.
Yeah.
And it could have if Arsenal had done something a little bit better, like maybe put more pressure on. But Liverpool very cleverly then started to isolate Arsenal players in a press.
Yeah.
So they were quite happy for this player to get with like a what we'll call a light press. But then when the ball went into the left back or the centre midfield, the young lad in midfield, there was a definite evidence of a heavier press on them players, and they isolated them, and it paid off for Liverpool.
It's interesting because I saw Ronaldo in the week, and he was like, he's an Arsenal fan, and he's quite realistic stuff like that. Now he said that he's glad that Arsenal continue to play like that because he thinks it's educated, etc. And I get that to a degree, but surely trying to develop a side is being able to adapt to who you're playing.
Yeah.
Whether that's the manager picking different players or adapting once that heavy press came on those two, which one of the goals came from, then changing or whatever it might be. I just think to keep going like that. I know Pep did it at Man City and does it, but he's got way better players.
Yeah.
Surely you've got to betwixt and between a little bit.
Maybe it's just that Pep influence that like regardless of what's going to happen, we're still going to keep going. We're still going to keep playing. We're going to play through lines and then try and get ourselves out of the pitch. But like you're saying, is that unfortunately them two young boys have been exposed massively. And other teams now look at that and they look to put more pressure on. And now it's the litmus test now, isn't it, for them? Because if them two can't come back from that, unfortunately, that's their Premiership career or the top end of Premiership career is on a downwards trend now from this point onwards.
But we'll move on to the next game. In comparison, I still say that Liverpool at the best are still the best side to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Man City were really good on Sunday, but again, another day that could have been reversed in terms of a 1-1 because they were 1-0 up, weren't they, until 5 minutes to go or 10 minutes, whatever. And not that Everton were in the game, but the longer it went on 1-0, a breakaway.
You just thought maybe Andros Townsend might have had it hitting him because they moved him into centre midfield second half, and I thought he was quite effective in there.
I don't think he's a bad player.
No, I just feel that when Richarlison looks out of it, he looks a shadow of the player he used to be.
Yeah.
And then when Townsend was breaking and getting the ball into Richarlison, just wasn't coming back with it.
He was frustrated as well, wasn't he?
Demarai Gray started well and then pulled up. Yeah. And when you're looking at Everton team and you're bringing on Rondon, you're like, for me, I'm literally as an Everton fan, I'd be like, let's get more.
Yeah, exactly. I just think with Man City, if they're not careful, they had a great win last night in the Champions League, and there's a great side. I'm not saying they're not. I just think sometimes they overpass, and I do think even in that game that from occasions the lack of a natural number 9 is evident because sometimes they go to cross the fullback, maybe they come back, and they're good enough to do that, aren't they? That's why Pep will say, don't necessarily need one. He will certainly say that to the media because they're good enough to go, oh, not in there, I'll come back, we'll start again. But I just think it's going to cost them at some point. 2
players for City, throw these names out. Cancelo, outstanding start to the season.
Superb.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Well, do you know what Shrek said?
Very quiet.
Shrek said...
Have seen the best of him?
Yeah, that's exactly what Shrek said. I know I think he's had a couple of cases of COVID now and he's a few injuries in the last 18 months or so, but I think Dad's seen probably a little bit more City than what I have, and he said even when he's played, he's not been, because he's the one who's got the cutting edge pass, hasn't he?
Is it because they don't have a 9 that we're not seeing De Bruyne, because De Bruyne used to play them great balls into Jesus or into Sterling or into Aguero?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's interesting, like you say, have we seen the best of him?
Yeah, possibly. He seems to have been a little bit quieter lately. I'll keep an eye on that one, especially fancy football players. Sad news though, while we're talking about City, is Aguero having to retire.
Yeah.
It's a shame, but I believe I heard his name get sang at City game.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was a nice little touch there. And then Spurs 2, Leeds 1. I didn't see any of this game, but for you guys, the fact that you've got 3 points
must win. I thought it was the best that I've seen Leeds play this year. They looked a little bit more like the Leeds that we saw last year, the high energy, fast flowing football. And I thought the two wingers, Harrison and James, were class. First half, Tottenham were absolutely woeful. The issue is the midfield. The midfield was just all over the place, and then actually they created 1 or 2 good chances. Kane certainly had the confidence back from scoring goals, but the midfield, as soon as you got into midfield, it just broke down, and then the fullbacks that Emerson's not good enough. And bizarrely, we didn't press them. We allowed them to have the ball. I don't know if that was a bit of Conte thinking, well, they're so poor, we're not going to give them confidence of trying to get through our press.
Yeah.
We'll sit back. But actually, they were very good at it. Second half, we just came out. I mean, Kane had a chance within 30 seconds of the first half of the kick-off. Good save from, who's the young keeper? Looks about 12. He made two, if not 3 good saves from Kane. We hit the post, we hit the bar. We probably deserved the win in the end, but it wasn't overly convincing. But it's 3 points, I think.
It's 3 points, and if you look back to, I remember when Liverpool spanked Watford, and Ranieri was just taking over. It was literally his first game, and I remember listening to Keys and Gray calling Watford, saying, "Oh, they're a terrible team. We don't look a terrible team at the moment, did they?" So maybe in a couple of weeks' time, when he's had a bit of time to bed in with the players.
I think so, and you can see it.
The games are coming thick and fast, aren't they? So he's not really getting the time we put in.
And they're good. There's some good voice coming out of it. And like we said, he's a good manager. And I was actually listening to a podcast.
Not hours?
After hours. I always listen to us first. And they were saying exactly what I said. There's no way that Conte's going to Tottenham with no money to spend and the best players being sold.
I've heard a little rumour. You got a kitty 400 million.
Where the hell that's come from.
And the other little rumour I heard is he's potentially looking at Delip.
The centre half. Well, he's a good player, isn't he?
Yes, very good player.
Was he at Juventus? Yeah?
He was at Ajax and then Juve bought, because we were hoping Liverpool would then go and get the combination of Delip and Van Dijk. Yeah. But then I think he went for 85.
Yeah,
maybe
that's
a bit more.
He's the captain on Ajax. So, I don't know. There's no way he's gone there with no money, and he's obviously won. And also the third point. No, he's going to have a pot of money. Keep your best players, so your Sons and your Kanes and people like that, and also probably have the freedom to get rid of Deadwoods at a loss.
Talking about players that could potentially go in, Lacazette. You can officially sign a pre-contract in January.
I think he's good, mate. I always have done. I don't think he's ever had what I would consider a really good run in the side.
No.
Arsenal fans might disagree because you obviously watch your team more than me, but I always think he looks lively, sharp, dangerous.
Well, I'm sure Newcastle wouldn't turn their nose at looking at something like that. This weekend fixtures are as follows. The early kick-off, Arsenal-Newcastle.
Arsenal should win that.
You'd think they'd want to get back on the board. And then the 3 o'clock kick-offs, Palace-Villa, Liverpool-Southampton. Could be quite a nice game to watch. Norwich-Wolves. That'll be an interesting one because both obviously scrapping for the points. Brighton-Leeds.
Need a win, Brighton.
Well, so do Leeds.
Yeah, so do Leeds.
Leeds scrapping around, can't seem to get any points on the board, can they? And then Sunday, there's equal amount of games. So 4 o'clock kickoffs back home, Brentford-Everton, Burnley-Spurs. How do you get on it, down it?
Yeah, usually.
The turf.
The turf usually go alright. Not necessarily very pretty because they sort of batten down the hatches, so it doesn't really suit us. But usually go alright there, so.
Yeah,
we've got to go win, haven't we? Any aspiration to get top 4, you've got to go win at Burnley.
Leicester, Watford.
That could be a good game. I wonder what the Tinkerman should get a hell of an ovation, surely.
Yeah, definitely.
Surely, Leicester fans, come on, give him a blast.
I think he'll be all right.
Yeah.
And then the other two remaining games are just eye-watering. You know, like you're literally just going, this is going to be really good. City, West Ham, Big Antonio to bash through the centre-half sit and upset them because they don't like big physical bodies up there. And then Chelsea, Man U. You know, Carrick is not getting an easy start to his career, is he?
He's not. A good win last night.
The fact that they won last night, I believe that 11-year contracts in the offing for Carrick as this one.
Get him at the wheel.
Yeah, so
Carrick got a new seat and a new bus driver's out.
Carrick is the new captain.
Oh, there's only one captain.
Yeah, yes.
Charlie, there's only one captain, you know that.
Yeah. Right,
he's debating that at the moment.
What was it?
Yeah.
Well, that's another one. Right, okay, we're gonna spend a little bit of time United. Well, we're not going to spend too much time, but Ollie finally went. He probably long overdue. A lot of Man United fans that I know had been starting this campaign weeks and weeks ago. A good friend of mine from back at school, Peter Passy, every week used to have Ollie out sign on his Facebook after every game, and that started back in the Liverpool game.
Yeah, I just don't know where the appointment came from full time in the first place. Yeah, I get that, you know, get somebody who knows the club, get that passion back and stuff like that, if you like, because they didn't like the way Mourinho was playing. And, you know, but he got it on the back of, that last-minute penalty in the Champions League at Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden he's the world's best manager, with experience at mould and getting sacked or getting Cardiff relegated. It just was a bizarre appointment. I actually think that some of the ex-players, and I know Rio Ferdinand was the one high-profile one that time about getting a contract there, they have to take some responsibility of it. Because they have a voice, they know they've got a voice in the media, and therefore the fans...
Oh yeah, definitely.
The fans who don't have their own opinions are the ones who probably don't know the game as well as you or I, let's say. Hang off every word. So I think they've got a bit to play in that, and they've not gone forward. They might have gone forward in terms of
the squad talent.
Yeah, and they might have gone forward in terms of it looks like there's a club kind of all in the same direction, fans and that, but they've not gone forward in the league. They've not won anything. They don't look like winning anything. The board's a joke by the looks of things, and you know, I think the board or something. What I would say is they didn't need Ronaldo.
No. Moving on from Ollie, obviously Ollie's gone, but for me, it seems a strange time when there doesn't seem to be a great stack of managers out there. Yeah. If you thought they'd done this a couple of weeks ago, could have been running for Conte.
Well, that was the obvious one, wasn't it?
If you'd gone a while earlier, you could have been in the running for Tuchel.
Yeah.
As well as potentially Poch as well.
Which is...
So you've got three high-profile coaches there that
absolutely
would say have got a way better CV than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But then it makes you then look around the world and go, right, what is available to United that's available now? And there's only Zidane that you would say that's been a high-profile club that potentially is there. But I believe Zidane's learning English at the moment.
Apparently, I didn't realise that he couldn't speak English.
Yeah, so he's learning English, so then he can tell Man United no in English.
You've been waiting for that work, haven't you? Very good. Yeah, I agree with you though, because Poch has been, obviously, when he was at Spurs, they reckon he was always sniffing around him then.
Yeah.
You don't feel, I mean, you're not that bothered because I think it's funny, because, you know, we all hate Man United at the end of the day. But you're dead right that they've missed out. 3 managers there, potentially earlier. Why did they sack Mourinho? Why did they even sack Moyes all those years ago? Because they're no further forward.
Well, is it something like, was it 80 million they paid out in managers' fees now?
Yeah, I will say, because I also read yesterday that, and I thought it was a bit pathetic that he gave an interview to Man United TV after he'd been sacked. I mean, that just says it all. It was a bit softly, and he started crying. But what I will say, apparently his severance package was 7.5 million, and he's giving it all to charity in Manchester.
Right, every credit to him.
Salford City, I'll get it, apparently.
Class of 92. But yeah, where does it go now for United? So obviously there's no ideal manager out there. So how about looking, and I'm going to throw this one out there, out of the box, Ronaldo player manager?
He would love it, wouldn't he? Ronaldo, but they're looking, so they've got Carrick on an interim, but they're only looking for an interim. So does that mean that they've got somebody in mind? Does it, like in the summer, does that mean that they've got no idea, but they don't want to go down the old Ollie route again, so they're going to get like a proper manager in until the season, see how that person does? So anything. I mean, I think they're talking. I've read that is it Vidani or something? The guy getting sacked from Barcelona.
Yes.
Him.
But he had a stinker there.
Yeah.
So.
I've Steve Bruce chucked his out into the ring. I'd be interested to see how he goes there though. If he went, he'll never go. But.
So you got Bruce here. Then I'll look around the current Premiership. A team that are doing well. David Moyes, West Ham.
Ain't going
He ain't going there.
Your mate Rodgers.
Rodgers, see, I don't know what his loyalty's like in regards to. Obviously, he's gone from Liverpool to Celtic to Leicester, which have no official ties with each other. So it's not like they've gone from Liverpool's great rivals or Leicester. He's gone there. So he's not actually crossed that boundary, which Rafa Benitez would.
Yeah.
Scumbag. So
he won't be there long.
You look at Rodgers potentially. David Moyes won't be interested. Rafa Benitez. But then what's he done of late that's warranted potentially?
I think he's way overrated. Since he had that, when you won the treble or the champion in 2005, I know he's won stuff.
Yeah, he did well at Valencia,
but nah.
So, where next? Diego Simone over at Atletico?
There's him. Gary Neville. And
Yeah,
this is the thing. Even Southgate signed a new deal this week, so they couldn't even decide to go there.
Yeah, I generally don't know. I think
it's a mess.
I think for me, probably keep Carrick in for the next few games, and then why not risk go with Ronaldo? Ronaldo and Carrick as a double up.
Yeah, you can't do any worse. And if you're not going to get anybody that, you only have to look at Spurs, who clearly didn't get the man that they wanted in the summer, whoever that man was. I think it was Conte, and I think they thought they'd get him from what I've read, but it didn't happen. And then look what a mess they got themselves into.
Sven-Goran Eriksson's back, I believe.
Sven. Only for weakers on the board.
Right, okay, we'll leave Man United there. Right, rugby, interesting new development, which I didn't. When I was told this story and I asked the person, they didn't have all the full information. So I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So for people that aren't aware, rugby union now for internationals, players can swap countries.
Correct.
Whenever they want.
So, well, sort of.
Even if like in current international football, pre-caps, that's it. You've got to stay with that country.
So World Rugby before this was if as soon as you played a cap, that was it.
Yes. And
in a vote, 75% voted in favour of this new move, and the new move is that you can change nationalities. You've got to have a 3-year stand down period. Then you can change nationalities to the country of your birth, your parents' birth, or your grandparents' birth. You can only do it once. So I'll be honest, I don't agree with it at all, because surely when you play for your country, whether you choose that or not. You know, I know we spoke to Durant, who's South African by birth but played for Italy because he learned his rugby there and he was a resident. So I get that. He's chosen Italy. You shouldn't then have to be able to go back. However, and I said this to you, and I'll wait for you, I'll see what you think of it. World Rugby is saying that the reason they've done it is to try and improve the quality of the game, international game worldwide. So obviously what they're trying to think there is that somebody who is young, maybe in a young All Black, for example, where they've got a plethora of talent, gone, actually, my mum was born in Georgia, I've got Georgian grandparents or something, I'm going to stand there for 3 years, I'm only going to be 24 or something, what happens, I'm going to play for Georgia. Or something cause the end of the career, but I don't know, does that work?
It doesn't work at the end of the career, because who in the right mind, maybe at 28, 29, suddenly isn't involved in international rugby, then decides they can wait 3 years and then still play at 32, 33. Yeah. Interesting. I'm not sure where they're going with it, but I understand that if you don't want to be limited, and maybe that might help strengthen some of the other countries.
Yeah.
But
because I know that is a big thing. You talk to, I think, Mike Lowers here, Larks, Charlie, Pasco, bigger rugby than what we are. They're saying that there is a huge divide between the top nations, and then so actually playing a 16-team World Cup, it's great for numbers, but actually the quality just dilutes the big games moving forward. So if that worked and there was a 2-tier system, or so, I mean, you have to look at the Six Nations, don't you? That Italy are just way off. People have talked for a long while that bringing more of the European size into a 2-tier, 6 Nations or 10 Nations, or whatever they call it. So I get that there, but surely you'd be better off investing money developing those countries. own players.
Possibly. Well, you say that UAE have that structure, don't they?
Yeah.
But, right, talking about other random sports, we'll look at this. This is bizarre. So, article on BBC Sports.
So you've not really given me an opinion on this, so let's just tell what happened. So, in the first round of the UK Championship in York, Shaun Murphy, who I believe is the world number one, or certainly up there, one of the world's best snooker players, lost 6-5 to China's 19-year-old Si Zhuai. Okay? Now, Si Zhuai is an amateur snooker player.
Yes.
The only amateur in the tournament, 158 players, I think, only amateur, won 6-5. What a story, yeah?
Great result.
Shaun Murphy's come out and has since been backed by other high-profile players to say it's an absolute disgrace that an amateur player was allowed to play in a professional tournament. That his reason for that is that they are all self-employed, they're not a team, self-employed, they work for themselves, it's their livelihood, everything's on the line for them. And because he's not a professional, that he just can play with a free spirit, so he shouldn't play.
So how does an amateur turn pro?
I have no idea. My thing there, I just thought he sounded like a petulant, spoiled child.
He does. And I think the standard of snooker's gone that bad. I remember Ronnie O'Sullivan a couple of years ago saying he's still ranked in the top 50. And he's like, it's a joke. He said, because all the other snooker players are that bad. If he'd gone back when he was playing, like the previous players like Jimmy White and all that weren't anywhere about because the standard of snooker was so high. But now the standard of snooker is not that high, you're going to get results like this, where amateurs are going to step in. But why should amateurs not be allowed to have the pop? Because that might be the difference between him going from amateur to professional. That might then allow him to get sponsorship. So, Big Baby there needs to
put his big boy pants on.
And sort out his cue and get himself back on the practice table. What you've been doing, kid? If you're professional and this is your life.
It looks like drinking and eating.
Wowzers,
I just find it bizarre because I think we said some of the best sporting moments, the romantic ones, are when the underdog wins. I know not always the underdog and not always amateur, but look at the FA Cup, look at the semi.
Lincoln City at Burnley.
Yeah, they were a conference side. They went to the quarter-final of the FA Cup.
Middlesbrough, when they made 2 semi-finals, didn't they? And they were a championship team at the time.
Exactly.
They made, or was it Middlesbrough? It wasn't Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough, not the team. Was it Chesterfield or something
Chesterfield,
like that?
Chesterfield.
They made semi-finals and quarter-finals.
They weren't non-professional semi-pros, but there's been amateur stories of the FA Cup. That's the romanticism of it. I know in cricket they used to have what they call the C&G Trophy, which was one of the one-day competitions that was open to all the first-class counties and the minor counties.
Yeah.
And that got disbanded, and there was a massive talk about it because that was one opportunity as an amateur to play in what was the cricket's version of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
I just find it bizarre. Entitled.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's
rubbish.
I've lost, and I'm now going to make excuses. And any other profile snooker player also needs to have a long look in the mirror.
It'll say different if all of a sudden this young kid takes the professional world by storm, gets a load of backers, sponsorship, and all of a sudden his earnings go up.
Yeah.
He won't be saying that then, will he?
Yeah, crazy world. Right, okay, fancy football. The weekly winner was the one and only Tom Jackson.
Jacko boy.
Jacko, great points. 81 points he scored this week, which was 10 more than me.
Yeah, and 13 more than me, 14 more than me. But he's going alright. He's going alright in the league as well, isn't he?
Yeah, so we've not really looked at this league for a while. So top of it is Gwyn Williams, who is ESM and All-Stars player.
Yeah.
Who was on the video that AJ sent when he was giving a lot of grief. Luke Gregory is in second place and Tom Jackson in third. Booth is still floating around 17th.
You're not that far.
I'm 50 points. Well, 50 points probably off the top 5. So a couple of good weeks and could see me.
I'm 89th.
Back up there, and it's
I'm
basically.
over on the first page.
No, you're not on first page. Are you on the second page?
Yes.
Oh, you've gone above Matt Aldred. And Shirk is 92nd, and Big Lefty is up to 89.
300 points off the lead.
Oh my goodness, what on earth has Shrek done this week? 33 points.
Let's have a look. What's he been doing? Been jet lagged.
Kane captain, there's his first error. Oh, Kane captain. What? He's just basically had an absolute stinker there, hasn't he?
Yeah, Schmeichel 1 point.
Yes, fancy football going well, so make sure you get your teams in. Void voucher on its way
to Jacko.
To Jacko now. And this wraps up another fine
Another
edition. At least we look a lot more alive than we did at the start.
We're alive and a kicking, but
End of the day.
what do we?